listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bree.
And I'm Rachel. Hi.
Live from the Roadway Inn, Rachel Bomberger.
Today's episode is an adventure in Lutheranism. I think these are fast becoming some of my favorite episodes I think they're all my favorites, but it's just there's so many things to talk about.
Things we don't know. Yes.
Right, exactly. So it is summer right now, or will be summer. It's June, which means
it's getting hot out.
The weather is warming up, which means it is summer camp season. And we have a lot of really great Lutheran summer camps. And some people listening, maybe camp kids, former camp kids. Some people, like myself, maybe are not former camp kids. So today we have an adventure in Lutheranism, and Bree is going to share all of the pertinent details that we need to know about summer camps and Lutheran summer camps. And this should be super duper fun. And hopefully you all are in like a hammock right now, because that would be an appropriate place to listen to this episode. So Bree, take it away.
Yes, thank you. So I do want to speak specifically today about the NLOMA camps, which I believe stands for National Lutheran Outdoor Ministry Association.
Yes, it does.
Right? And it is a network of, I think, 29 camps across the United States. And just to give you a little bit of history, and I pulled this from the NLOMA website, it was formed in 1972 as LCMS OM, or LCMS Outdoor Ministry. It became NLOMA in 1979. Most of the camps, even though there's 29 sort of countrywide, most of them are in the Midwest because I mean, what are you gonna, like, come on. And Sarah, you talk about not being a camp kid, and actually I was not a camp kid either.
What?
And in fact, I speak as somebody who worked as a camp counselor at one of the NLOMA camps 1 year out of my college. So like I'm a total poser when it comes to speaking about this.
Wait, are any of us camp kids?
I went to camp one summer.
Was it a Lutheran camp?
It was a Lutheran camp.
Cool.
Camp Omega.
Yeah.
It was very exciting. I got to go because for confirmation, I ended up receiving a lot of monetary gifts. And that paid for me to go to summer camp. But much to my outrage, and now I'm a little shamed that I was outraged by this, I was also required that it would pay for my sister to go to camp as well. My gifts, as if the only reason I got them is because we were at vicarage that year at a really large church, and that was not going to be my sister's experience when she got confirmed. So anyway, my mom,
just your parents being thoughtful,
and gave me a good lesson in yes, no need to be quite so selfish. You didn't get these gifts because you're so great, Erin. It's just happenstance. Anyway, Erica and I both went to summer camp that year.
Was it like a specialty camp? Because we'll talk a little bit about that. It was like a general overview camp.
It was just classic summer camp. It wasn't like a theme or something like that. Sure.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Even though I am kind of speaking as a noob when it comes to like NLOMA, the number, I think, of Lutheran camp obsessives is like so real.
Oh yeah.
But like at the same time, everybody I know who loves camp is so welcoming, and they make you feel like you've been part of this family for years. And it's something that just sticks with you for the rest of your life. You will always be that person to them, and you will always have that association. And I think that is just a very special posture to have when it comes to one of our LCMS subgroups. And, I have friends who they worked at NLOMA camps starting as junior counselors in high school, and they every year after year in college, that's what they did. I worked at Camp Wartburg in Waterloo, Illinois.
Nice.
The summer of 2006. I was recruited at Concordia, Chicago to do so. My camp name, which is often it is a common tradition at the NLOMA camps, maybe not all of them, but some, for people to have a camp name. And my camp name was Rex for two reasons. One was I have the whole T-Rex arm thing going on. That's for sure. But then also this was at the heyday of like Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh no.
time.
Yes.
I did a really sick Rex Kwando impression at that time. And that's just I did one bow to your sensei, and they're like, your camp name is Rex. Break the wrist, walk away. So like that's my origin story.
For all of you ladies out there who haven't watched Napoleon Dynamite, I haven't either. So you
I haven't
aren't.
either.
It's still funny, even if you haven't ever watched this movie. It's okay.
It's fun.
Do it though, because I can recommend it. It is a clean comedy.
It is.
That pays homage to the real high school experience of 90s teens.
Right.
no.
In South Dakota. In South Dakota or Utah or something.
There we
I mean,
go.
this is like the opposite of Dawson's Creek.
Oh,
Absolutely.
well, then I guess I need to
And
watch
in
it.
this case, we do want to wait until our lives are over, in the case of Napoleon Dynamite. But anyway, so being a camp counselor at a NLOMA camp was super fun. Met a lot of cool people. A few of the reasons why I really enjoyed my experience at Camp Wartburg was being able to meet some cohorts, my age group, LCMS Lutherans who didn't necessarily go to Concordia, Chicago, or, I didn't grow up with in the Lutheran school. So it was good to meet with people who really, they lived all over the country and were placed at Camp Wartburg. So I was able to expand my Lutheran network a little bit. I loved learning a little bit more about myself and what my body was capable of.
Mhm.
Every year before the campers would come for the first week, you could opt to take first aid and lifeguard training. I think we all had to pass first aid, but
Probably.
lifeguard training was optional, and it required swimming 20 lengths of a pool.
Holy moly.
And I was like, I'm a person of size. I'm not a swimmer, but I did it. I took a shot.
Mhm.
Nice.
I didn't pass because it took me 4 hours to swim those 20
It
lengths
was
of
a
the
lot
pool.
of lengths.
But
it
it is dedication.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It takes dedication.
that's
I
a
was
lot.
like Casey at the bat. It was midnight and I was still going. So I thought that was cool. But I think overall, the most important reason I think for camp as kids, as attendees, is also the same reason why being a camp counselor was so fulfilling for me. Is you have the responsibility to teach kids who are arguably in the most tumultuous period of their lives. I had a lot of tweens. I think the youngest camper that I had was actually 5 years old, like a sleepaway camper,
wow.
5 years old.
Oh.
She was the cutest. I'm like, how are you even doing this right now? But every day there was a worship opportunity. Every day was a teachable moment about faith. Every day was a Bible study. Sometimes the evening game that we would play was Romans and Christians, which I don't necessarily.
I remember that game.
I don't necessarily.
It was weird. It's a little. I don't
endorse
always like
that
it.
activity. I don't endorse that activity, but
Brought out the sadistic
Poor-
side of some people.
right?
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
whoa, this
Got a little
12-year-old's a
too
real fire,
into the Roman side.
fire and brimstone types over here.
Yikes.
But overall, I think being, you're in these kids are in the kids and young adults are in your care and sort of your spiritual care, and it is so fulfilling to start the week out with this group of kids who, may not really be familiar with Jesus or have a regular worship life, and to sort of see them off, the Friday after, seeing them sort of completely change over the week. That is the most fulfilling part of working at camp. And looking back on it, my biggest regret for not doing it more frequently, not being a camp counselor more frequently, is because of those opportunities that I missed to sort of spiritually care for kids and teens.
Yeah, we talk with NLOMA camps every year as part of like their recruiting.
Mhm.
On the coffee hour, we always have some of the camp directors on. And that's one of the two biggest takeaways that they always bring up is that camp always builds a sense of community between these kids who don't know each other, like you mentioned.
Mhm.
And it shapes these kids in a way that you don't get anywhere else because camp is such a unique experience. And that you get to learn about Jesus in a place where you don't normally think that you'd be able to learn about Jesus and reading the Bible. And it's this very formative experience for these kids that you just don't get anywhere else.
It's true. It's true. And speaking of formative experiences, I do also just have to say I fell a lot that summer. I did. There was this one particular week that I was serving as one of the counselors for what they call WOW Camp. And it was one of those like general overview, like try all these different activities that we do at camp. Because we did have things like theater camp and like pioneer camp where you had to like rough it for the week.
Boy.
WOW Camp was like you got to go horseback riding and, canoe the Kaskaskia River. And so going to caves. So that week, I think on Monday I fell in a cave. Tuesday, I got like 3 feet of air. I was super impressed. Tuesday, I fell out of a canoe at the Kaskaskia River. Wednesday, I fell off a horse. Like, I fell off a horse, guys. Like, I didn't have a helmet. I fell off a horse. And, like, it was, like, happening in slow motion. I was like, I think I'm falling off a horse. And, like, I just gingerly, like, just rolled off. I was like, I fell off a horse. And then I had to bring it back to the stable by myself. And we were like in the middle of the forest. I was just like, what? So then my Thursday, it was like high ropes course day. And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
But you're like strapped into the high ropes course. You're
I'm
not
good.
going anywhere.
I'm good, Sarah. I'm
She's
good.
like, I'm not going to be the one dangling upside
good.
down. I didn't fall to the ground, but I am upside down, dangling.
Zip line, I'll pass. I will pass this time.
I mean, the whole point of a zip line is to like control fall. So
Maybe
you
I
might
would
have
have
been
been good
really
at
great
it.
at that one.
Maybe I would have been good at it. So I took to Instagram to poll my followers about the experiences that they maybe had as camp counselors or campers themselves. And many of the people that I follow on Instagram or that follow me or, mutual following happens. Like a lot of people in my circle are camp. They're either former campers or they're camp counselors or both. And I think that it's a very loud and proud subgroup of the LCMS for sure. I asked my followers, if you've worked at a NLOMA camp, where did you serve? Pretty much all of not every camp in the United States was represented, but all regions of the United States were represented generally. Some people worked at multiple camps from one year to the other. And something I didn't know is we have what I would call non-NLOMA still Lutheran. I'm air quotes. You're not going to see that. These camps exist, and some of you have served at those too. I guess that there is a Lutheran camp, I think that's affiliated with the Concordia Irvine that Kelly Nava had made me hip to. She worked at that.
Yep.
She worked at that camp. For those of you listening, I would take it to you guys to weigh in if you have been involved, whether at a NLOMA camp or a non-NLOMA still Lutheran camp, or even just a summer camp in general, like what your experiences were like and what you enjoyed about it. I asked my followers what their most cherished memories of camp were as counselors, and I feel like I can sum that up into 3 terms: fire, friends, and faith.
Whoa.
Right.
Alliterative.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of the formative experience that people have as counselors, and I can attest to this, is the time you get not only to bond with your campers, but the ability to bond with your fellow counselors. Nights off and the weekends that you would have together, I think were particularly formative and important and edifying experiences amongst your fellow counselors. campfire time, whether it's just campfire songs or actual worship or skits or talent shows.
Mhm.
That's always fun. Speaking with campers when they had, hard or random theological questions is a cherished memory that many of you had. Some people met their future spouses or determined their future career by counseling at a NLOMA camp. I will say that at Camp Wartburg in 2006, maybe raided the dining hall after bed. That was a fun memory. So the formative experiences, the faith experiences, the fire experiences, I think were some of the most cherished memories of camp as a counselor. I also put it to my followers to talk more about their most cherished memories as campers.
Mm.
And that was just straight fire. Like nothing. Everybody said, here's what it was. Okay, campfire devotions, campfires, night games and campfires, singing at the campfires, nights by the campfire, nighttime devotions around the fire while gazing at the stars. And then someone said owl camp, which I have so many questions about what that is. And horseback riding.
Of course.
But what's the deal with fire, guys? What is wrong with you? They should have fire camp. Like, let's burn things for a while.
I mean, where else do you get to burn stuff in a controlled environment, though? Especially as city kids? You don't get to have burn piles in your backyard and watch the fire consume things. It's just not a thing. I mean, when I went to higher things when I was a kid, one of my favorite experiences is devotions, compline around the campfire.
Fire.
Well, I mean, fire is a basic primal human thing, and we have so little access to it. Of course, it's going to hit deep for someone who doesn't get fire otherwise.
Yeah. That's true. Get your seasonal dose of fire at NLOMA camps. That's a future ad. Get at me, NLOMA's social media and marketing team. The final thing that I asked my followers about when it came to NLOMA camps is if you're a parent of a kid or parent of a kid who you send to camp, what's the draw for you? Why do you send your kids to a NLOMA camp? I actually didn't get a whole lot of feedback on this one, but a lot of the responses had to do with giving kids an opportunity to be out in nature and sort of have their faith lives sort of stimulated during the summer when maybe they don't have as much exposure to that. But Elizabeth Decker, I see you. I'm not a mom, but I see this. And she says, they were driving me crazy in the summer. And I'm sure all of the moms out there are like,
needed a little break.
It's okay. That's fine. I dig some sincere honesty, and that's great. I love it.
They don't make summer camp for adults.
Yeah, they should though.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some places you can go to for weekend camps and stuff. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of these campsites double as retreat centers. So
Right?
churches.
Grown-up camp is called retreat.
Retreat
That's
center,
true.
retreats, lock-ins.
I feel like camp was a lot more fun than retreats, though, that I've been
Yeah,
to.
they need to work on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
To use the two.
that's right.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you didn't get a whole lot of response on why do you send your kids to summer camp. I'm sure people were just sitting there saying to themselves, well, duh, because it's good.
Everybody.
I need to offer a response beyond that.
I did have somebody say, because camp is awesome.
I mean,
you're right.
yeah.
You're right.
And everyone else just went, oh, they said it. I don't have to.
Right?
Yep.
So I was just struck with an idea, you guys, pure brilliance right here.
Oh boy.
Lutheran Ladies Lounge Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Week at camp.
Put it
So
on the 5-year plan.
that's right.
I know some people. We might be able to make that happen.
Oh my
At
gosh.
Waterloo, you can ride a horse again.
Yes. I don't think
What
my
do we
legs
do when we fall off the horse, Bree?
That's
we go, I think we're falling off a horse. And we just kind of cartwheel onto the ground.
We get back on the horse.
Oh, I did not get back on the horse. I refused.
She just
I just kept going. I shouldn't have even brought the horse with me. I should have just walked back to the stable.
abandon the horse.
In the forest.
I'm pretty sure that's
bye.
animal cruelty. You can't do that.
Look, they can eat leaves and stuff off the ground. I don't even. Whatever.
not sure horses eat leaves off the ground. That's not their diet.
What do they eat then? I don't know.
Hay.
Hey, what's
Don't you
up?
remember?
No,
Hay.
I don't know horse stuff, guys.
Oats.
Carrots and apples.
Right.
Love
I
it.
should tell you guys, I never got to go to summer camp in Loma or otherwise because A, my parents were raising 4 kids on a budget.
Mm-hmm.
B, we lived in really ridiculously out of the way places or ridiculously in the way places. I spent 5 years in Washington, D.C., not a whole lot of in Loma activity out there.
None.
That didn't take away my desire to go to summer camp. I mean, one of my favorite movies growing up was the Haley Mills version of The Parent Trap, where they're all at the camp. Oh, I wanted that. So I didn't go to summer camp, but my Barbies went to summer camp. Let me tell you.
Yes.
And I feel just because that opportunity was not one that was actually available to me. I mean, we did tons of camping as a family. My Eagle Scout dad made sure I got plenty of access to fire.
Mm-hmm.
And my family's going to hate me for telling you this.
Oh
no! We had such a problem with this that my dad put around a legend. This is family lore, and we all remember this. Little boys who play with fire wet the bed.
Oh
no.
As a way to sort of deter some irresponsible behavior. And to this day, we all pass that around as wisdom. If you play with fire, you wet the bed.
Okay.
It's not true, but it did help at the time. So yes, I get the fire thing. Totally.
They love it.
Oh my
they
goodness.
love it. So I have
But
one. No, you're good because I was just going to wrap it.
Oh, okay. If you have an opportunity to give your kids access to fire and camping and horseback riding and do it in a way that they can be spiritually formed, you know, with a lifelong faith and friendships, that is such a gift.
Yes, do it. And, you know, money is a thing, obviously. But a lot of camps have like scholarship funds. These are nonprofit organizations that are supported by donor contributions. And I'm sure that one of the things that each camp probably sets aside is scholarship funds for kids who couldn't otherwise go. So definitely check out what those financial aid opportunities are as well.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest draws to all of this, and it probably seems kind of obvious, but that ability to unplug and be in nature is so incredibly powerful. Yeah. And I think especially after this year that we've had of being constantly plugged in because we've had to be plugged in order to, you know, be quote unquote with other people virtually or to work or whatever. We've been so exhausted from all of this screen time that ability to be out in nature, forget all of your technology and just literally unplug and enjoy God's creation in a way that is it's a very healing experience for anybody, whether you're a kid or an adult. So like if you can't get to an adult camp retreat, like go find some woods. Like woods therapy is a thing. Go find a state park and like go take a hike. But like find that time to spend outdoors. If you don't go to camp, find some time to leave your phone at home, in the car, whatever, and be in nature for a little while. It can be a very healing experience.
Even if it means succumbing to gravity on a daily basis.
I'm glad you're not all broken up from all of that, Brie.
I know.
You're a very resilient person.
It's a funny story like later. And it was funny at the time too. But I kind of wish I would have had an out-of-body experience at the time and like watched it.
Yeah, because social media wasn't as big of a thing as it is now. There's no video evidence of any of this, sadly.
It could have shown up on stupidvideos.com, but there was no video, alas.
You didn't get made into a GIF.
No. Should have been, though.
Sad.
So I have one more surprise for you all.
Oh, boy.
To sort of wrap this up, hopefully. Maybe.
The pre-wrap wrap?
Yeah, the pre-wrap wrap up. So I tasked my fellow camp counselor folks on social, and I tasked them with answering this question.
Oh, boy.
Tell me you worked at a NLOMA camp.
Oh, no.
Without telling me you worked at a NLOMA camp. Number 1, I've been wearing the same pair of Chacos for 12 years. For the uninitiated, Chacos are a very popular sandal, like foot sandal, as opposed to a hand sandal.
Is there another kind of sandal?
I don't know why I said that, but they're very popular.
Feet sandals now.
They have a very distinct design, and they are very popular with camp counselors. Asking what prayer you're going to do before you eat. Superman, Johnny Appleseed.
Superman, what?
Yes.
What's
you want me to do it?
I know Johnny Appleseed, but
do you want me to do it right now for you? Okay. Thank you. There's this whole motions and stuff too. Do you want to do it with me?
I don't know the motions though, but I'll do it with you.
Thank you, God, for giving us food. Thank you, God, for giving us food. For the food that we eat, and the friends that we meet. Thank you, God, for giving us food.
That was amazing. I didn't know that existed.
Oh, yeah.
You should do it at home now.
Camp
What?
perks.
Camp, hashtag camp perks.
Okay, so wait, there's Superman and Johnny Appleseed.
Oh my gosh,
What else
there are
is there?
so many. Like, there's a Flintstones one, I think.
Oh my goodness. Camp is
Goodness gracious.
Camp is ubiquitous for coming up with these catchy things that only camp people know.
And like it gets territorial too.
Yes.
Because one camp's version of the Superman prayer is different than this one's, and it's like turf war. It's crazy.
Didn't Baby Shark start as a camp song?
Oh no, there's a Jaws prayer.
I feel like my sister brought home Baby Shark from
God is good, and let us thank him for our food. Amen. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
I love how I said this was the pre-wrap wrap-up. You know you've worked at a NLOMA camp when you consider a $140 weekly stipend to be good money. Because when you do the math and realize that it's a 24-hour-a-day job, it's like 3 cents an hour or whatever.
But I mean, you're at camp, so
I am not going to dig the
meals.
stipend that you get. You get free, but it like the experience. I'm sorry, it's worth it. Like
it's
it's a great summer job. I don't care that it wasn't minimum wage. Like it's a special experience
that you don't get anywhere else.
Exactly. You know you've worked at a NLOMA camp when you can successfully find spiders in the dark really easily with a flashlight.
That is a life skill, man.
Yes. You know that you've worked at an NLOMA camp when you have many like stylish friendship bracelets, like just it's just like bracelet after bracelet after bracelet. You know you've worked. This is kind of, I don't know that this is really specific to working at an NLOMA camp, but you have successfully graduated a summer with either epic tan lines or epic sunburn, or like notably you have Chaco tan lines on your feet from your feet sandals.
Ooh.
This is ridiculous.
That's amazing.
You know how to respond when someone says, "I just want to be a sheep."
Ba, 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 ba. I didn't even know the camp had that.
You know that you've worked at a NLOMA camp when you post an ad on Facebook Marketplace that says, "Used guitar for sale, like new, only played 3 months a year." And finally, and this is, we kind of covered this already, but you know all the words to the Johnny Appleseed prayer without missing a beat. And that's all I got.
There was nothing about camp songs, though, or do all those things happen around the campfire? I don't know these things. I feel like whenever we have camp counselors on, it's always about like camp names and campfire songs.
Campfire is just such a special time, but I personally, I don't have a whole lot of memories outside of just like the general, like the feel of it.
Maybe that's what I just assume happens.
It's special, Sarah. You really should just go to it.
And I Just Want to Be a Sheep is totally a camp song.
It is.
That's true.
It was invented on a camp. So I actually don't know that. That's probably a lot. But the other parts of this podcast episode were very true.
Crowdsource information.
Yeah, exactly. But that's all I got. I will echo Rachel's sentiments that if you have the opportunity, whether you are a college-age student and have the opportunity to work at a NLOMA camp, or you're a parent and want to send your kids, or you're a kid, LOL, I'm glad you're listening. Welcome. Consider NLOMA camp as to spend a week of your summer being edified in the Lord, enjoying nature and making new friends.
Burning stuff.
Lighting stuff on fire. falling in a cave and off horses.
But I mean, that's such a cool thing about camp is that, I mean, you come away with all of these stories that last you a lifetime and all of these friendships and all of these things. And I mean, even if it wasn't like super fun, like when we went to, this wasn't an NLOMA camp, but in 5th grade, we went to our usual class camp in the winter and I got lost looking for one of our activities. It's funny now, but I'm pretty sure I like sat in the snow and cried.
Oh,
but I also
saved you.
I was such an awkward child. But I also got to like go cross country skiing for like the only time in my life, which was amazing. And I love cross country skiing now. And I went horseback riding in 8th grade at a camp, not a NLOMA camp. I mean, being able to do all these things that you don't normally get to do as a kid is super duper fun.
Yep. Some of my dearest friends I met specifically from that year at Camp Warburg. Shout out to Zelda and Daisy, the whole crew of 06.
So what's funny is on the NLOMA website, the picture on the employment page is a campfire. So
of course,
there you go.
We have fire.
It's all about the campfire.
Well played, NLOMA. Well played.
We've talked about NLOMA a bunch and name dropped it all the time. So you can find their information at NLOMA.org. That's NLOMA.org. There are opportunities for employment. There's year-round stuff if you're like super inspired now to go change your career and work at a NLOMA camp.
If you do that, you got to let us know.
Nobody would blame you if you did that. To be honest. And there's also
to this podcast and now I changed my career.
But we better get that referral bonus, okay?
But there's also summer opportunities for all kinds of stuff. You don't necessarily have to be a campy person. I mean, they need all kinds of people working in the kitchens, doing photography, running some of the fun stuff outside. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do with the camp, even if you're not a child anymore and can't like attend, you can still get involved for sure. And there are 23 camps across the nation. So if you're now interested, you can find their whole membership directory, camp directory, and find an NLOMA camp near you. There's all kinds of stuff. And also, I will plug the coffee hour. We talk to NLOMA camps frequently on the coffee hour. So if you want to hear from individual camps too, if you go to KFUO.org and just search NLOMA, they should come up. Well, hopefully, ladies, you've been inspired to check out NLOMA or just like go find woods around where you live and escape for a little while. We want to hear your camp stories. If you have camp stories or your kids' camp stories, we want to hear them in our Facebook group, The Lutheran Ladies Lounge. You can find us there or share them on your Instagram and tag us at Lutheran Ladies Lounge. We will share those in our story because camp stories are apparently epic all the time. So we want to hear those as well. You can find all of our podcasts, including our previous Adventures in Lutheranism episodes at kfuo.org/Lutheran Ladies Lounge or on your favorite podcasting app. You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Coffee Bean.
I'm Rex. Oh, sorry. I got so excited. I was too excited. Sign off.
Crunch.
I am still Rex.
And I'm Speed Racer.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry. I was so excited.
Views and opinions expressed on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO Radio, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. The Lutheran Ladies Lounge is produced by KFUO Radio and available at kfuo.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Join our community on Facebook in the Lutheran Ladies Lounge.
Let me just pause this for a second. Can our sign-offs be camp names that we make up for ourselves?
I think Bree should give us camp names because Bree is the one that does this.
That's fine.
I don't want to be a raven, though.
I'm not going to say raven.
Okay.
Chill, girl.
Okay, because you already have. So you're Rex.
Yes, I'm Rex.
You have a camp name.
Right. Sarah, you're Coffee Bean.
Yes.
Aaron, you are... I don't want to say seaweed snack. I don't want too many food items.
You should be Stitch.
Crunch. Your nickname is Crunch.
Crunch.
Oh, that works.
That
And
works.
Rachel, you are Speed Racer.
Speed race.
It doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to.
Speed Racer. You've obviously been on a hike with me, Brie.
Yes. We've done a 5K together.
That's true.
Oh,
My
ladies,
mother-in-law once on a hike called me a gazelle and told me to slow down.
Isn't that
So you
your
actually
camp
are
name?
quite right there.
That's the new camp name.
can be
This
gazelle.
is your gazelle.
I was 5 months pregnant at the time, too.
The gazelle. Oh,
I love
so
it.
graceful
Where you
and
just
speedy.
maxed out the mic
I'm
hard.
I'm sorry. I just
Yeah,
had a vision of
Speed
like
Racer is a
Rachel,
great
5
name.
months pregnant Rachel, like jumping on rocks, and
leaping,
stuff.
bounding
Yeah.
from rock to rock.
Pretty
Oh
much.
my goodness. The tangents when we're all in
I'm
studio
so
together
sorry.
are
It's
so
so
bad. Okay. Now I have to like segue this so
Yeah.
it makes sense. When I
Put a
cut
bow
it
on
out.
it. Sorry.
I want to take this opportunity just to apologize for the incredibly loud truck that pulled up outside my door. So, Sarah, you need to clean up that audio. This is Eastern Oregon, y'all. There are, every town has a rodeo. And so
Is there a rodeo in town right now?
there's one and the next town over this weekend. So,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Don't
Yeah.
get me near any of them horses.
I love rodeos.
I ain't
right.
doing it. Sorry. I've
loud
fallen off of one
trucks
horse,
are
and
sort
that's
of
enough.
par for the course out here. And I will try to cover my microphone if another one shows up, which is not impossible.
I don't think I even heard it.
This is real
Okay,
life
good.
that we're dealing with.
I
It's
heard
fun.
it.
And as long as your audio turns out okay on Zencaster, I can
Mm.
I can
Okay.
nix it anyway.
Not
so
a problem.
And I felt it. So
Yo, yikes. Yikes.
Wow.